Hey guys, Stephen from LOJ here with another project car update on Project 427Z. Just wanted to give you an update on where we stood with the drivetrain mods. We did get the Willwood clutch master cylinder installed into this car. That's going to allow us to run custom plumbing for the T56 Magnum transmission and the OEM GM concentric slave cylinder that's mounted inside the bell housing. The bore diameter of this clutch master cylinder is the same as a GM master cylinder, so it matches the flow requirements of that GM slave cylinder, and it'll allow the clutch system to operate properly. Another thing we ended up doing, I know in a previous video I was talking about the pros and cons of running a T56 Magnum, the true cost of running a T56 Magnum. One of the things we learned actually from a result of something we were doing on Project Carl Marrow, we had to send out the transmission on Project Carl Marrow to be rebuilt. When we ended up pulling that factory TR6060 shifter housing off of that transmission, we found some spare parts laying inside. So that's why you got to be cautious when you buy used parts. You just never know what you're going to get. But there were some C-clips laying in there, and the roll pins that hold the shift rails together were missing. So rather than tear into it ourselves and try to diagnose what was going on, we sent that transmission out to D&D Performance in Michigan. And when I spoke to their tech out there, I also talked about what was going on with this car, and there's a future client car coming in that's also getting a T56 Magnum in a 300ZX. So we got talking about the shifter issues with that conversion and how it's off by 4 inches, and he said, well, why don't you just put an F-body tail housing on the Magnum? Now, it's something new that I learned. I didn't know it was an option. Apparently it is, but hey, everybody learns something new every day. And when you put an F-body tail housing on a T56 Magnum transmission, it moves the shifter back 4 inches, which is exactly the amount of shifter relocation we need in these cars. So what I ended up doing was sending back the shifters that I had purchased for this car and for that client's car that's coming in a couple months. And what I ended up doing was I ordered that client's transmission with the F-body tail housing on it, and we're pulling the transmission back out of this car and sending it out to have the tail housing swapped. That requires a complete disassembly of the transmission. They have to put a new main shaft in it. All the gears have to come off the shafts, get completely torn down, completely reassembled. But what it'll do is it'll allow us to run a stock style shifter rather than a relocation style shifter that has an external linkage on it. In my opinion, that'll give us a better shifter feel and a more reliable shifter setup. In a car like this, or like the next one that's coming in, I prefer to keep things as OEM and reliable as possible wherever you can. And that's a situation where I think it's going to really make a big difference. So fortunately, we hadn't ordered the drive shaft for this car yet, because swapping out that tail housing does end up requiring the drive shaft to be 1.5 inches shorter. So I did end up ordering the drive shaft for this car from our supplier, and I ordered it 1.5 inches shorter than what the current measurement is, so I know it'll be the right length when the transmission gets back from being rebuilt. And that'll finish out the driveline in this car. It's getting an aluminum drive shaft. I think I mentioned that in a previous video. And the drivetrain will be done. We'll be able to run a stock style shifter. I'll put a short shift kit in it, like an F-body short shift kit. But other than that, it'll be in the stock F-body position, and it'll work out really well. So that'll wrap up the drivetrain in this car. And other than the rear differential, we'll get into that in a later video. I'll give you some more updates on where we're going with that. But appreciate you for tuning in and for checking out what's going on with these cars. I'm going to do my best to keep these videos coming out as regularly as I can. If you have any suggestions, things you want to know more about this car, things you want to know more about LOJ in general, comment below. I'd be happy to make as many videos as I can to try to hit on as many topics as people are interested in. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Take care.